Hi there, I'm going to show you how to check drip irrigation PSI during a drip assessment without having to poke a hole in the tubing. I've developed this tool right here to help you be able to check PSI ratings at each individual emitter site without having to poke a hole and having to fill it with a goof plug. So what it allows you to do is it allows you to press right up against a tubing that has a flat surface emitter, like an inline emitter tubing. It also allows you to go over the barb of an emitter so that you can check the pressure. So I'm going to show you how that's done here on my sample. So basically what I've got here is a collection of different types of emitters. Here we have an Antelco pet frog emitter, and then we have various other different brands. I believe this might be a Jane. This is an Agrifem. This is Netafim's inline emitter techline tubing, Netafim's woodpecker 1 gallon per hour emitter. And then we have a couple of interesting little guys right here. We have the Woodpecker Junior from Netafim with the spaghetti tube outlet. And we also have Agrifem's Everflow tubing here. The interesting thing with the Everflow tubing is it has an emitter on both sides. It has a hole on each side. So when you're using this tool, you have to cover up one hole so that you can take the pressure on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to take my gauge here and I'm going to put it over the outlet of these emitters so you can check and see what the pressure is while this emitter is running here. So I'm going to take this and put it right over the barb and push it down, and you'll see that this emitter has about 28 pounds behind it. I'm going to move on to the next one. This one has a little bit fatter barb, but I can get it on there, push it on, 30 PSI, pop it back off, move on to the Agrifem PCP emitter, put it over the barb. And as you can see, it also has 30 PSI. This one's a little trickier because it doesn't have a barb, it's inline emitter tubing. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push this right up to the hole on the emitter and hold it tight, and you'll see that it has about 24 pounds coming through it. Let's see if I can get that any higher, about 28. Then we have the Netafim woodpecker emitter. It also has somewhat of a large barb on it, but I could go ahead and wiggle that on there and get over it. It shows just about 30 PSI. This one's a little unique because I don't have the barb of the emitter, but I do have an open-ended spaghetti tube, which isn't real uncommon. So I'm going to go ahead and try to just butt this up to the end of it and see what happens. And there we go. Ooh, a little squirt in the eye there. But it sure beats poking a hole to do this, doesn't it? About 28 pounds, if I can get it to hold still there. There we go. Okay, and then this one is interesting because this Everflow tubing has a hole on each side of the tubing. So if you try to get a reading on this on one side, you're not going to get anything because there's no back pressure on the other side. So I'm going to hold my finger over the opposing hole, and I'm going to push this down over the hole. Oops, my finger slipped. Let's try that again. And then you'll see I have 28, 30 pounds. So there you have it, folks. Without poking a hole again, you can run along and check your emitter output and get your project done faster. So here we have some Netafim emitter tubing. This is the Techline CV. It has an outlet every 18 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and check the PSI rating with my tool and see what I get. So basically I'm going to take my tool and I'm going to put this rubber tip right over the hole and see what I get. It's a little tricky to do this with one hand, but as you can see on my gauge here, I have about 22, 23 pounds. So now I pull it back off. I don't have to poke another hole to check and see what's going on. I just have to go down the line and find the next emitter hole, which is here, 18 inches along, and I can check that guy out. And as you can see on the gauge, it also reads 23, 24 pounds. And through most drip audits, they want you to get the beginning, the middle, and the end. So let's just call that the beginning. So we're going to cruise along here. I'm going to find another outlet. Here's one right here. And I'm going to push my tool right up onto that. And you'll see, there we go. Didn't have to poke a hole. And then we're going to cruise on down towards what we will call the end of the line. And see if we can find the tube. Here we go. We have another one right here. We'll push it on. And see what we get. And as you can see, we have 22, almost 24 pounds. So, compared to a traditional drip audit, that would have taken quite a bit longer to do than by using this tool. I hope you find this helpful.